Good morning, party people. It is a
Good morning.
non-profit. Let's try that again. Good morning, Eric.
Morning.
So, we had a interesting discussion about video games this morning.
I don't know how interesting it is. Well, I guess it's pretty interesting,
That
depending on how you
pervasive,
look at it.
that pervasive loud minority, and how it influences literally every part of society now, including things that used to be fun. And now it's like,
I feel like it would be a really long list under the title "Things That Used to Be Fun."
right? Exactly. And I think part of it is that I'm getting old, and that's not my focus as much anymore. You know, I don't have this masochistic tendency anymore.
I mean, I remember when the frustration level of things like that just weren't as high, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, when you could beat your head against a wall and you wouldn't necessarily get angry and frustrated about it. Like, the older you get, the more you almost have this feeling of time being lost, which puts an added pressure on everything. And it can just cause you to kind of get angry. So
100%.
I get it.
That's what I was saying. That it's not so much that I think well, I do think that the quality of gaming has just gone down, quite frankly, particularly in comparison to where we were like 10, 15 years ago, how much fun the games were. But again,
Depends on the game. It's like you can tell the games that are made for the joy of it and the games that are made to just make money.
sure. Or games that are just, like I said, cater to that, that loud minority. But I do feel like just overall, the games aren't quite as fun as they used to be.
Yeah, and I think it's a mix of, things change in ourselves and things change in these companies that make the games, but I don't know.
Yeah, I do. But I do think that part of it is me. But I also, because I have so much experience in games, I mean, I can look back. And I'm telling you, like we were discussing the difference between some of these new games. Like these games are rehashed games from a long time ago, and they aren't even necessarily as good as the games that came out 10 or 15 years ago. Yeah, and then you throw on top, and I'm getting older and less patient with them, and feel like I'm wasting time. Then yeah, it just is a recipe for not having a good time.
Hmm.
But hey, you know what? I'm kind of glad though, because I really am trying to kick all these bad vices. And really, at the end of the day, video games are a vice. It's a drug. It's a immersion. It's a
I
way
think
to
it's a
escape
form of
reality.
entertainment. Yeah, it's a form of entertainment for sure.
I'm not saying that.
And it's in a lot of ways a waste of time.
Well, I'm not saying it's always terrible to waste time. And that's not what I'm saying. R&R, like you don't have kids, so you have more time to play video games, and that's how you want to spend it. Great. I don't have any issue with that. But I feel like once you feel like you're banging up against this time barrier that, like, come on, can't the games at least be fun? Like, make me forget my problems for a couple of minutes, Don't give me more.
That's a fair point.
That's all. That's all. Anyways,
But you got to believe for a game developer, like they have to go one way or the other. I don't know that there's much in between.
explain. I think I missed you.
Well, I mean, if a game developer has to kind of look at the overall flow of a game, they need to appeal to a certain crowd, right?
Sure.
So either they appeal to the crowd that just wants a challenge and wants to beat their head against the wall and be angry and be into it and whatever, or they're appealing to the crowd that just wants to really truly enjoy themselves and play a game and not have a huge challenge, just be immersed and enjoy themselves. And, there's a big difference there, in my opinion.
Sure.
and how you have to develop the game.
Fair. No, and that's why I mean I don't want to like hate on every developer out there right now. It's I do like I said I think we are kind of entering this time or in the midst of a time where the world just kind of lacks talent. I was talking about Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, the Eric Claptons, the artists, the Picassos. Like we just don't have people like that in the world right now. I could get into even
I mean,
video game.
we do, but if you also look back in the past, it's usually the past that dictates these people. Like, very rarely are they recognized for being geniuses at the time.
Not necessarily. I mean, Michael Jackson was the most famous person the world has ever seen. No one has been able to replicate that kind of celebrity or music, for that matter. Like there hasn't been music that good.
Okay.
I mean, like the
Does everybody in the world probably know who Elon Musk is at this time?
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily a
So
talent
there
thing.
are people out there. Is it? Isn't it? He's got a talent.
Yeah,
You got to give him that.
I
You may not respect his talent. You may not, many things, but he's a celebrity, and he does have talent.
let me
Whether it's to bring smart people together with simple ideas and implicate them, so be it. But that's his talent.
That's not what he does. He buys companies. Like he
Okay,
buys companies.
then that's his talent. I don't know. His talent is to be known and buy companies, whatever it may be.
If I grew up with
He makes money.
I'm sorry, but if I grew up underneath the world's largest emerald miner, I mean, I could have been someone like an Elon Musk. No offense. I always hate hearing this bullshit. Like, there's this meme I saw recently. I love it, and it says, I came up from nothing," and it's a picture of, like an Illuminati ritual, like that's their family, and it's like, yeah, they're born and bred for it. I mean, his mother, his father, like some of the richest people in the world. No, that's not a talent. That's a silver spoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does he have some inherent talent? Sure. I'm not going to argue with that. But we're not talking Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton. I'm just using those names because they're easy ones, but I'm sure you could come up with some more. We don't see people like that right now. I mean, like, look at music, look at art. There's no Picassos, there's no Van Goghs, there's no Da Vinci's, no Leonardo's, no Frank Lloyd Wrights, no, and these people were celebrated during their lives, like all of them. People like to say that people weren't celebrated until after they're dead, and I will admit that after these famous people die, sometimes they like kind of reach this prophetic status. Yes, but no, man, there just isn't. That's just not what's happening in the world now. It's like if you're not one of them and handpicked to spread that message, like you're not going to make it. I mean, like who is the most famous person in the world right now? The two most famous person. You said one of them, Elon Musk. You know who the other one is?
I don't know.
Mr.
Probably
Beast.
Taylor Swift or somebody like that.
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast. Not everybody knows him. Everybody knows who Taylor Swift is. Mr. Beast is just a popular in the YouTube world.
He is the single most watched person on the planet right now. Yeah, and Taylor Swift is like the most talentless person ever. I mean, her voice isn't even as good as Beyonce.
My point is people that have never even seen a picture of her or know what she looks like or have listened to any of her music would know her name. My point is people know her name.
Okay, yeah, but you're splitting hairs though. You're splitting hairs though.
Maybe a bit. But
I'm talking about this overarching idea that those people don't exist anymore. And again, Taylor Swift was a manufactured character. Her father invested hundreds of millions of dollars in her. Like,
almost all music artists are fabricated.
mm-hmm. They're
Almost
manufactured.
all of them.
All of them. They're
Yeah, of course
manufactured.
they are. Not all. There's a few good ones out there.
Yeah, but
You know.
they're never gonna rise to the Taylor Swift or Beyonce status either.
No, they will not. But that doesn't change the fact that they have made music and they will be recognized later because that's just what happens when people die. They're no longer a threat and they can be recognized for what they did.
Yeah, maybe. In this generation, I'm not sure if they're doing such a good job of erasing history at this point. I feel like if it doesn't follow the message, they're probably never going to reach that status even after death.
Maybe.
It's an opinion.
Some do, some don't.
Name one recently. Amy Winehouse, maybe?
Recently?
Maybe Amy Winehouse, someone like that. But of course, they killed her, like the 27 Club, Kurt Cobain, maybe, like that kind of stuff.
I was just going to say Kurt Cobain, but
he's more back in that Michael Jackson era, though.
I don't know that the era has changed.
Oh, yeah, it has.
From our
Michael,
perspective.
no, listen, Michael Jackson, is black, is white. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the most famous song of all time. And he's always talking about love. And Taylor Swift is all like satanic, bitch this, bitch that, slut this, slut that. I mean, come on.
And why do people let their little girls listen to that shit? It's fucking crazy.
Because it's cool.
Like mothers, brainless mothers, put that shit on for their children like it's no big deal. Blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind.
The wife and I talk about some of this stuff.
I can't believe it.
We were talking about how everything's a brand now. I mean, she got a master's degree in creating brands. My wife, and she's really good at it. I mean, I don't want to get into her personal stuff, but she's a good person to talk to about this because she has an upper level degree in this one, and she is a leader in her field in this. And we were talking about the Stanley Cups. You know what I'm talking about? Like that Stanley Cup craze this year. So she and some people from work decided to sponsor a family for Christmas. And this family's too poor to have their own Christmas. So you know what they put on their Christmas list?
What?
Starbucks Jewel Cups and Stanley Cups.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but not warm clothes, not good foods, it was like all this brands. It was just brand. It was just like brand. I saw the list and I was disgusted.
Want what others have.
But I was
just want what others have.
I wasn't like that when I was a kid. This is like
a
new thing.
It's modern media and modern propaganda.
But that
doesn't surprise me at all.
That's what I'm saying. Is like you're talking about Taylor Swift. It's just a brand. She's just a brand. She's not a talent. She's a brand. It's like Travis Scott isn't a talent. He's a brand. Elon Musk is damn near a brand these days. Like Trump is damn near a brand. They'll sell their merch.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's like Tesla's a brand, and there's a brand competition. It's all these memes. They're like F-350 versus Tesla.
It's because money.
Yes. Yeah, money, power, influence.
Yes. It all comes back to that, always.
Remember,
every time.
It's not love. It's not joy. It's not... There's no depth. There's no...
It's those baser instinct, gluttony, greed.
I'm telling you, that's why video games are starting to creep me out a little bit. It's like people are starting to get that way about video games too. It's like I told you when I was...
Well, that's why I've leaned towards the indie games and stuff because they tend to be a little more for the joy and love of it.
That's a gaslight too. There's no such thing as indie companies anymore.
No, that's not true. There are still some. One of my favorite games.
Sure.
An indie company.
Yeah, and that one's still pretty quiet.
And they're getting bigger, and they're going to get bigger, and they'll probably get ruined because they're going to get bigger. But it doesn't change the fact that that's their roots.
I agree with you. But most of the time,
maybe it will get befouled at some point, and that's just what it is. But
well, I mean, or without getting too much into that, I'm talking more along the lines of it's like this gaslight, you know, like where you hear indie and early access when it's like a team of 120 devs and the game's been out for
Oh,
3 years. You know, I'm like,
well, that's just good marketing. It's using
right?
buzzwords to
Branding,
create get
branding,
yes to get an emotion.
because people like the idea of their brand being indie and early access. That's why. That's what I'm talking about. It's branding. They did a very good
Yes.
job of branding. When you have 100 developers and you're branded as an indie company, come on now. It's just a downright lie, you know? And it's just like the Taylor Swift thing. So I mean, it's just so pervasive now. It's like the Taylor Swift thing that she's like this good little girl for little girls. No, that's the brand that she sold when she's really a satanic worshiper and she has satanic lyrics and you know, like it's the brand that is like
Hmm.
it's just a you know, it's just corrupted. It's lies. Anyways,
Yeah, enough of that.
yeah. Okay, so let's get in the meat and potatoes today. A couple things I want to talk about, but the first one I wanted to get into, you asked me about, and that's the lights, the lights, right?
Hmm.
So I gotta ask, what do you think is going on with that? And I know that there's the standard answer like who gives a shit, but let's not do that. Let's
I mean,
just
that
entertain it for a
is my
moment.
answer. Typically, I could care less. If I saw it in front of me, I would be interested to watch it and see what was going on.
Okay, so then
But
you're
I'm not like you in the sense that I spend a lot of time looking up.
I don't really spend that much time on it either because I again think it's kind of BS. But
Wow.
what's the point? Like, what's going on though? Like, I'm more interested not in
It's
this.
just technology. There's just as time goes on and there's more things and stuff in the sky, people are gonna see more and speculate more.
Well, how about
That's
this?
it.
How about
I
this? This
think
is
it's a simple answer.
well, kind of. See, I'm not so interested in what the sightings themselves are. I've done a lot of research on this. I already know what they are. It's a mix. We touched on this on the last podcast. It's you know it's a mix of different black ops projects and stuff like that, and they're kind of trying to feel everybody out and expose people to this. But what I'm more curious about is so people don't call them UAPs and UFOs anymore. They call them drones. And it's basically been memory hold already. You know, like month in and now no one cares anymore. Were they successful? Was the campaign successful? They completely desensitized everyone to this one in just a matter of a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's what happened?
I mean,
I mean, it's already out of the news cycle.
I mean, clearly it was right because that is what happened.
Yeah, you think that you think it's like a desensitization
I think it could
campaign?
be. I mean, I'm not prepared to say anything for sure, but
Well, it's okay. This is speculation. You know, we don't. We're having fun. We're chit chatting. You can say whatever you think. You don't need to. You don't have to be. There's no way to. There's no way to be certain in your beliefs about this stuff, anyways, until one like comes down in your backyard and a little man walks out of it. You know. You know what I mean?
that would be pretty cool though.
Right.
Except that then I would, get irradiated and probably die soon after. But
Right. I know.
I mean, that would suck.
Um. So let's go over a couple of those little videos because I do have a couple of videos on that that I had queued
Let's
up.
do it.
Let's do it. And for my viewers, I apologize for any weird music. There's just I only have so much time to edit this stuff. So here we go. Mr. Greer. Real quick, I want to give a preface on who Mr. Greer is. So Stephen Greer is ex-CIA. Of course, they all are, right? You know, they're all old CIA ops. I don't necessarily trust him. However, I just like this guy's message, He tends to have a very non-hostile message, so I listen to him in the sense that he's not a warmonger. He's not trying. It doesn't seem like he's trying to scare people. Let's let it play.
Lies that we as citizens of Earth are facing. Can you go into depth with each of those 3 lies?
Sure, absolutely. The first one, Elizondo and that crowd stood up and started saying,
It is my belief that the United States is in possession of exotic material, and unfortunately, that's about all I can say at this time.
yeah, well, there's something out there, and here's this footage, but we don't know what they are. Now, ironically, the footage that they were showing were from the Lockheed Skunk Works. I know who worked on them. I know where they're deployed from. I have a photograph of the underground entry port for those out in the Mojave Desert. The second big lie is that we don't know how these operate. Well, that's what they want everyone to believe, because if they were acknowledged, we know how these function, that are electrogravitic anti-gravs. The date that breakthrough happened, where we had a stable anti-grav system, was October 1954. The other issue is that these extraterrestrial civilizations are a threat. Let me assure everyone, they view us as a threat. If they were hostile, they're so far advanced with that, they just shut this whole civilization down. It's in the interest of the warmongering, endless war psychopaths and sociopaths to convince the world population that there's a threat from out there.
So,
Word.
I don't have to believe every word he says, but at least he's not a fearmonger.
It just has a ring of truth, though.
Right?
You have to admit.
It feels intuitive, and that's just the way I am. Like, if I can't reason it a priori, if I can't like internally reflect and go, yeah, that's a good message, I'm not going to be interested in it. Mm-hmm. He's not trying to sell fear. I like that. So I always take these guys with a grain of salt. Anybody who's ex-military, ex-CIA, any of that kind of shit, I take them with a grain of salt. But there's some truth in that one. However, I do think that he purposely leaves stuff out. I'm not always sure who's allowed to speak about what for what reasons and why. All these. I know you don't necessarily follow these, but he talks about Elizondo, a very outspoken CIA guy who works for the Department of Defense, and he is a bit of a fear seller. But sometimes I feel like they all got there. And I do have a Elizondo video. I'll show you that one later. Okay, so hang on. Let me pull up this other video real quick. Okay, this is an old one. Bob Lazar. I'm not going to give Bob Lazar a lot of preface. Everybody knows who Bob Lazar is. If you're on this channel, you know who Bob Lazar is. The Area 51 guy who worked on the sport models. The guy who was the first to talk about Element 115. Okay?
Extremely classified document dealing with religion, and it's about that thick. Period. But why would there be any classified material dealing with religion?
What does it say?
That we're containers. That's how supposedly the aliens look at us. That we are nothing but containers.
Containers of?
Containers. Maybe containers of souls. You can come up with whatever theory you want, but we're containers. And that's how we're mentioned in the documents.
I know a little bit more to this story. This is quite an old interview. Since some more stuff has come out on that particular topic, even though it's one he really does not like to talk about. It's the most classified document on the face of the planet, and it's about 7,500 pages. And it goes into great detail as to how mankind is supposed to be treated. And how that there is a symbiosis between aliens and humans, and what I gather from these two clips, and this is what I want, because I wanted to put these two clips in particular together, right? We've got Bob Lazar, who's about as legitimate as you can get. Greer, about as legitimate as you can get. And so if you just take just a touch of truth from both of these guys, are you sure they're not hostile towards us? I mean, if we're their containers, then they can't be too hostile, right? They can't go blow us up. There has to be this symbiosis.
Right.
But then that would also...
I mean, if we're following that logic, I agree. if we're following that logic.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, the option of not following that logic, I guess. I don't know.
There has to be some truth in it. There's just too much evidence for.
There doesn't have to be truth in anything.
Yeah, then at that point, if you're just going to be incredibly skeptical and not want to discuss it, like, what's the point? Like, why have a podcast? People want the out there stuff. Plus, some of the out there stuff has got to be true, anyways. There's too much evidence. There's just too much evidence. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen UFOs. I've seen entities. I can't dismiss it all. I can't go, no. So, and I'm not saying I've seen this stuff sober as I can be. I've seen this in broad daylight. I just, I'm not a schizophrenic. I don't have daylight hallucinations. When I see things, I tend to trust my eyes. It's like, who am I to argue with what, my own senses?
Sure. Yeah, I would never argue with my own senses. I don't see much point in that. If you can't trust what you see and what you hear and what you feel, then what have you got?
Exactly. Like, then you're just this eternal skeptic. So just for the sake of conversation, I feel that there's something that's hidden from us. I feel that when you take these conversations that these guys have, that what you start running into is that I don't necessarily believe aliens are non-hostile. I would say that if we are these containers, if there really is this religious text about how they're supposed to literally handle us, it's akin to the rules about how we take care of our cattle. Like, you have to be careful with the way you raise cows because you don't want them to disease your food.
Yeah.
You feel me? You feel where I'm going with this one? But are we
Yeah, I get it.
Are we hostile to our cattle?
No, we're indifferent to them, if anything.
Okay, good. I like that. But, you still take a chicken and you chop its head off. It doesn't know
Yeah, but I
what's
don't think
going on.
that's hostile, necessarily.
Sure. It is to the chicken, though.
Sure. Absolutely.
The chicken thinks so.
The chicken definitely thinks so, doesn't it?
That's my point, is it depends on what level you're at. So I think they are hostile towards us. Here's another thing. I hear this one all the time, too. Is that I hear that all these aliens are actually nice, and they just need us to fix our own bullshit.
I think that's rose-colored glasses.
I agree, and I'll tell you why. Because if those aliens have been around forever and they've been working with these governments and they let technology slip out and stuff, they keep the sociopaths in power. Again, they are hostile towards us. I really feel like every alien out there is hostile towards us.
But they still, they must have some vested interest in keeping humanity as a whole intact.
Right.
For whatever that's worth to them.
Yep.
Who knows? But clearly they have, if we're following this line of reasoning, then they have a vested interest in keeping us intact, yeah.
Okay, so what would that... Now, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make you guess. I'm not going to pull a Lou. So what that tells me is that we're a resource. And...
like cattle. True.
Right. And it could be a little bit different. It's a good analogy. It works for this conversation.
Honestly, most of humanity is cattle for our own governments and whatnot.
Right.
So
Right?
is it a stretch to believe that some alien race would see us the same way? We see
you.
ourselves that way, for fuck's sake.
Thank you. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so...
And we literally line up to be cattle, too. Most people are so comfy in their cattleness. It's disgusting, really.
Look how fat humans have become. Like, poor people... Being fat is now associated with being poor. People literally line
Which
up
is
to
so weird.
become cattle, to be the best cattle, to be the
Which
best
is so
consumer.
weird. That whole dynamic, that poor fat person, like the white trash fatty kind of looking, you know what I mean? Like that whole
Yes.
it's interesting. It's because they are fattening us up. Why are they fattening us up? Why?
That's a little bit darker thing that maybe I'll touch on a little bit later. But let's hang on to that thought. How about that? Let's not get dark yet.
Okay.
Let's not get dark just yet. But okay, so let's say we're all racing to become fat, and now so it's pretty obvious we're a resource. Let's just say that we can just take that as a premise and run with that for a moment. What do humans do over resources? We fight over them, right?
Sure. Oh yeah.
Okay, so what do you think the aliens are doing?
Probably fighting over us. I mean, but
Yes.
that's also considering that aliens are no better than humanity.
Hang on, let me show you my next clip.
Okay.
Where'd you go? There you go. Okay. So this is one that was captured. It's supposed to be fairly legit, unedited ring footage.
What is that circle? Is that somebody adding that circle in, or
No, that's. It, at first glance, it's kind of hard to tell, but something that there's some other clips I've seen out there that show what looks like drones, unidentified drones, fighting in the sky. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
That
I get it, but I mean, clearly that was a jet engine. That's human technology for the most part.
Well,
would
and like you said, humans see each other as resources. It could be we're already fighting aliens up there. They're trying to take the resource and, So, one more clip on this subject to prove this point. Good old Vladimir Putin. I'm pro-Putin. But because of stuff like this.
Они привыкли столетиями набивать брюхо человеческой плотью, а карманы деньгами. Но они должны понять, что бал вампиров...
Just leave that. I want to leave that up there right now.
You know what's funny is Russia even loses their own people to Western ideals.
I know.
That's how strong our propaganda is over here. That they lose their own people to the Western culture. And they don't try and stop it. Russia doesn't try and stop it.
Oh, hell yeah, they do.
I mean, to a certain extent.
No, they
but people leave all the time.
Oh, no.
Or they have in the past.
Russia spends...
They have in the past.
Well, that was because
you know what I'm
Western...
talking about. I don't want to get into it.
Well, I mean, I can very briefly go over it. I can explain it very, very quickly. The Bolsheviks took over Russia. I mean, it had been an empire that had been around for 1,200 years. It was, some consider it Tartaria. They had all kinds of free energy and stuff. And the Bolsheviks, the Jewish bankers, came over there, took over the country, killed tons of people. And it wasn't until the early 90s that Putin pulled them out of it. And the FSB, it's some of that, without getting too deep into that one. And Putin has devoted extremely large amounts of resources to try to combat Western propaganda and to repatriate people and to make life as good as possible as he can. I could go a little deeper into it, but I don't want to really have a conversation about Putin. I'm just more along the lines talking about... Mm-hmm. It is clear there's a fight over human resources amongst humans. And if there are aliens...
riddle me this. The resource seems to be the humans themselves.
Correct. That's what I'm trying to say. And it looks like now humans are warring with aliens over these resources, which are us.
I mean, that just goes back to, maybe our leaders themselves are aliens.
I don't think it really matters. If the aliens are running around among us, then if there's one alien, there's probably 10 different kinds of aliens, you know? So that one's like a hard one. That's kind of like that. That's a rabbit hole that I don't really expect all the viewers to understand, or
even want to delve into.
I mean, I think that a lot of them do want the crazy stuff, and I just don't think it's time to like really get into talking about Nibiru and Anunnaki right at this moment. We're kind of talking about if there is this alien presence. They see us as a resource. Clearly our leaders, our human leaders, see us as a resource.
I mean, without a doubt.
Right. And there's a fight
They've been
for this
operating,
resource.
proving that. They've been operating and proving that fact forever.
Right. I mean,
just based on their actions.
Well, and if you try to deny that one, you're just a sheep. You know, like you're just a sheep at that point. I mean, they're even trying to like
clearly
modify your DNA so you're a better lunch for them. I mean, you know what I mean? Like we're like how we inject cattle with all these different things so that they're easier for us to consume. You know, just getting further and further away from what's natural to us and better for them. Without getting like real deep into health, human health, it's like we don't need any of that shit. We have lived on this planet, coexisted here for a long time. Why do all of a sudden do we need all this extra weird medicine? I don't know. I don't really want to get too much into that topic, but it's just clear they treat us like cattle. And if you can't figure that one out, this podcast is probably not for you. So don't be good cattle, please, people. Do not be good cattle. So let's get in. Now you want to get into the crazy stuff? You want to get into the really crazy stuff?
Go for it.
As if the vampire ball isn't crazy enough. But you know, we've talked about this before. I think they're all vampires. Whether or not they're your book fantasy-esque vampires, probably not. I think it's probably some deeper. How do I put that? What's that? Psychic vampires? It's more like psychic vampires?
Oh, yeah. That TV show is so funny.
Oh, yeah. What is the name of that show?
He's an energy vampire.
That is
he
such a
sucks
good
the energy out of people.
That is such a good show.
I mean, when I see that, I see anybody in power is an energy vampire.
That's me. That was that show made by the guys who did Flight of the Conchords. Such a good show. It's hilarious. Did you ever watch Flight of the Conchords?
I don't know that I did, or if I did,
sucks. Okay,
it's not clicking.
I have to play this clip just because it's so freaking funny, and I can because it's free use. So I'm gonna do it real quick.
Don't see it.
I'm just gonna play the song.
Loading. Oh.
Hang on. Let me get it.
yeah.
Oh, it's fine. I'll just put it up here. You can see it.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're in the bathroom brushing our teeth. That's all part of it. That's foreplay. Foreplay is very important in love making. Then you go sort out the recycling, which isn't part of the foreplay, but it's still very important. Next thing you know, we're in the bedroom. You're wearing that same old ugly baggy t-shirt with the stain on it that you got from that team building exercise you did for your old work several years ago. Team building exercise 99. Off my clothes,
You remember this?
I trip over my jeans.
No.
Oh,
I've
really?
never seen this.
Dude, you gotta watch this. It's only like 10 episodes. It's amazing.
Next thing you know, I'm wearing absolutely nothing except for my socks. And you know when I'm down to just my socks what time it is. It's business time. It's business. It's business time. You know when I'm down to my
Ooh.
Okay, before I get a copyright, I want to shut that off. I can't believe you've never seen Flight of the Conchords, man. Dude, you got to watch that. It's the same guys that did that one vampire show.
Okay.
God, it's such a good. That was
Hilarious.
such a good show. It's business. It's business time.
Don't quit your day job.
No, I can't sing for shit. So, this is some crazy stuff. I'm just going to talk for a minute and tell me what you think about this one. I don't even need clips for this. Have you heard of some of this new stuff coming out? JWST. You know JWST, the new satellite that replaced Hubble telescope?
I don't pay attention to that stuff.
So the JWST, it's a replacement for Hubble. I mean, it's kind of a replacement, but it's the most powerful optic we have out there in space. It's sitting out there at a little Lagrange point past the moon. It's the most sophisticated device humans have ever built. And by far the most powerful optic we've ever had. And it's starting to see some stuff. And this is interesting. Did you know that when you look up in the sky and you see the Milky Way, like on a real clear dark night, you've seen the Milky Way, haven't you?
Sure.
Okay. Excuse me, I'm gonna blow my nose. Well, it's not the Milky Way that we're looking at. It's actually the Sagittarius Dwarf Galaxy that we merged with some like 40 million years ago. And where the Sagittarius Galaxy is merging with us is right on top of us. It's right on top of us. Right on top of our solar system. So this is really interesting because it kind of just changes everything. That we are in like one of the most active locations galactically in our neighborhood. When we used to think that we were in one of the calmest places in the universe.
I mean, that's easy to believe when you can't see far out.
Right. And now that we're getting...
can't see anything, really.
Well, I mean, we do a pretty good job. I mean, we look at a lot of stuff. We have been for a long time. But the way like parallax and the way we measure distances and stuff wasn't perfect. And I'm not saying it's perfect now, but it's getting much, much better. The better optics we get out there, the better we understand. And what we're finding is that where we once thought that we were in a very calm part of our galaxy, we're actually in one of the most active spots. We're in the middle of an active galaxy merger. We're dead center of it. And another thing they're finding is that with the more powerful optics, when we look out there, you can see wobbles of stars. You can see wobbles of planets. And as like AI and our mathematics improve, we have a better understanding of what's going on there. Have you heard of something called the Oort cloud?
No.
No.
Why does that sound familiar, though?
The Oort cloud is our outer atmosphere of our solar system. It's
Okay, you're talking about just the asteroid belt, essentially.
No. The asteroid belt
What are you talking about?
is in between Jupiter and Mars. The Oort cloud is our outer atmosphere of our solar system, like outside of our known planets. In fact, Pluto is within the inner Oort cloud, right at the beginning of the inner Oort cloud. The Oort cloud is, I forget, it's like 50,000 astronomical units or so it's really big. Like 3, 4, 5 times as big as the distance from here to Pluto. Multiply that radius by 5, 6 times, and now you're talking about our Oort cloud. Okay?
Yeah.
What they have found, and this is very recent, that there are other solar systems within our Oort cloud. And there are at least 40 rogue planets within this Oort cloud of varying sizes, of small microplanets or what we call dwarf planets, all the way upwards of planets that could be 40 times as large as Jupiter.
That's a big planet.
Yeah, I know, right? And there's tons of these things that we are really in an active place, and this is within the atmosphere of our solar system. All this is occurring, and because of the way cosmic timescales work, that this has been occurring for the last 40-ish million years. So,
Okay.
what I'm trying to say is the chances of there being intelligent life and aliens and shit out there is 130%.
Where do you get that number from?
I'm just throwing a goddamn number out there, but what I'm saying is that not only is there a chance for intelligent life, it's highly likely that there's multiple forms of intelligent life within our Oort cloud.
Okay.
I'm telling
And when you're saying our cloud, you're saying just outside of our solar system.
No, this is considered our solar system. Oort cloud is considered our solar system. It's our atmosphere. It's within the influence of our sun's gravitational field. That's the Oort cloud.
That's close. That's relatively close.
Yeah, it's the Oort cloud. I think tends to be estimated at around 100,000 to 150,000 astronomical units. An astronomical unit is the distance between us and the Earth and the sun. And I don't always remember all the exact numbers, but like I said, Pluto is at the edge of the inner Oort cloud. That's like where that outer atmosphere starts. But this is all within the gravitational influence inside of our solar system. And this says a couple things. It's just right off the bat, without like getting into anything crazy and just sticking with just real standard science. I can't remember how many moons there are there known planets, but it's a ton. It's like 150 or something like that, right? Just tons of moons.
Okay.
There are all kinds of satellites running around out there. But now they're saying there's like upwards of 40 planets within our Oort cloud of varying sizes. And that there could even be stars within this Oort cloud that we can't see. Dwarf stars that are small enough to evade detection from these optics. And it's possible that they're already starting to see these objects, but they just don't tell us, you know? Yeah, I mean, you know, like that.
Well, knowledge is power. I mean, why are they going to tell us if they don't need to?
No. But this leads to a bigger idea. It leads to a much bigger idea. That we're clearly not alone in this solar system. Not even in this galaxy. Not even in this region. We're not alone in this solar system. The chances of intelligent life being around for a very long time is... The chances of it not occurring is zero, is what I'm trying to say.
How do you figure?
I know modern scientists love to go and say that there's no way there's intelligent life. Like, there's no evidence of it, we don't see it. But that's just bullshit. It's just lies. I mean, I'm this far away from being a mathematician. I teach mathematics. I'm a hobbyist who's taken damn near every master's course online for MIT, Stanford, when it comes to these kinds of discussions. When you're talking about differential equations, orbital mechanics, three-body problems, I've studied it all. I've worked a lot of these equations out myself, and I'm telling you that mathematically speaking, it's a not zero, but so close to zero that there isn't other intelligent life here that there's no reason to have a discussion about it, you know? You're starting to bang up against probabilities where, like, this wallet in my hand doesn't really exist, you know? That this table is made out of cheese and not wood. That you're starting to have those kinds of discussions. There's life out there. There's a 100, I'm telling you, a 99.99999 with so many nines after it probability that there's intelligent life within our solar system that I cannot even have a conversation with someone about it, you know? Like, I would have to be such a skeptic, you know? We would have to get back to that whole, like, we're not even gonna have a conversation about it because you just have to be so skeptical about everything. You just have to deny reality in front of you, you know? Yeah, and I'm telling you, I've experienced this stuff. I mean, I've experienced what I would consider off-world entities, you know? Like, so the math says it to me. The world says it to me. My own eyes say it to me. They're here. Dude, they're here. They're here. And they've probably been here for quite some time. Like a long time. And let's go get into the ancient texts. They've been talking about it forever. I watched some video last night about all the different aliens in ancient cultures, and like how, you know, who's the who of our local. Have I talked to you about that? Like all the Ebens and the Pleiadians and all that stuff?
I don't think so.
Really? We haven't talked about that? I'm on a lot of these different.
I think so.
I'm on a lot of these different forums, and
But anyway, finish your clips. I want to see the rest of the clips. Get in the weeds a little bit.
well, let's finish. I have a couple more clips, but they're actually a little bit more off topic than this. They gets into like a little bit of the. Oh, you know, I will show this one clip because this has confirmed some of the stuff that I've been talking about. Good old Billy Carson.
NASA.
You know Billy Carson? Have you seen this guy before? Did I lose you?
Sorry, I'm here. I have my mic not quite pressed all the way down.
Okay.
No, I don't believe so. But I'm terrible with names of
It's okay.
faces.
It's okay. I don't mind giving these guys prefaces because I don't always show them on my show. This is a guy who has his own podcast, his own YouTube channel. He's got quite a following now. He was kind of just like a rich real estate mogul who decided that once he made enough money, he just wanted to like study pyramids and ancient texts and stuff. And people really like him and follow him. I don't believe everything he says, but he also doesn't say anything too wild. He kind of just like is real good at rehashing stuff in layman's terms.
Okay.
For people. So I'll just play the clip.
Named Planet X, Planet 9. They found the planet in an strange elliptical orbit around our sun. It is 4 to 6 times larger than Earth, but they found another solar system beyond Pluto, and it's crazy because this solar system is within the inner Oort cloud. So astronomers and astrophysicists are starting to ask questions like, where are all these planets coming from, these rogue planets and these rogue solar systems coming from? So they discovered something crazy, and all the astrophysics books are being rewritten because they discovered that when you look up in the night sky with no light pollution, you're not seeing the Milky Way. You're seeing the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy, which is being merged with the Milky Way galaxy. We're actually absorbing a smaller galaxy, not the Sagittarius constellation, the Sagittarius dwarf. And right where our solar system is, and where is right where the two meet, where we've been dropped into this location. So even our solar system itself is alien to the Milky Way galaxy. And in 5 billion years, we're going to absorb Andromeda. We'll be Milkomeda in 5 billion years. So this is something that naturally happens. NASA has named Planet X.
Right.
This isn't new information to me. I've studied astrophysics, astronomy, cosmology for years, and I've always known about the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy. I didn't realize how deep of a merger it had become. I knew it kind of hung right below where we were, and I never really analyzed the implications, right? But this is, since I follow JWST, well before Carson, I've started thinking about this kind of stuff and thinking about like Nibiru and all that. I'm not really sure how much I buy into like the whole Nibiru thing, but I'm telling you, the science is definitely the case. Like that, we are in a really wild place. I'm not saying that Earth is an alien planet. I don't know if that's necessarily true. That particular claim that he makes that Earth is an alien planet to the Milky Way, there is nothing to substantiate that as of now. In fact, it looks like all the science I've seen shows that we're in a pretty gosh darn stable solar system. It doesn't mean there isn't some stuff going on a little further out there, but our solar system is pretty stable. We have like a real Goldilocks solar system. Anyways, but that's a big, a mouthpiece confirming this. So, but. Let's wrap this part up, right?
Yeah.
Just all the science is coming out, man. We're not alone. There's all kinds of objects in our solar system that we can't explain, that science up until recently was just totally wrong about, just dead wrong about. And our views.
I mean, that happens all the time. I mean, things get proven wrong constantly. I mean, for all the guesses out there, there's a whole bunch of evidence that says, nope, that's wrong. Nope,
Yeah.
that's wrong.
JWST though really has seen some crazy shit, and this is just the stuff they're letting out. This isn't even the stuff that, you know, the wild stuff that hasn't been confirmed. You know, this is the stuff that the media allows out. You know, like they can't hide everything forever. You know, they have to give you the little bits and stuff. And this is just the little bits that they're giving us. Shit's going down, man. Shit's going down. Okay.
I mean, on a cosmic scale, I guess it's...
On a cosmic scale, we're in a much more active place than we thought. Like,
Right.
way more active. And that particular... So this is an interesting thing, too, about the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy. It's young. It's a young galaxy. It's got a lot of blue stars in it. It's got a lot of activity. Like a lot of activity. So the kind of region of space that we're in, what we once thought was one of the coolest and calmest regions of a galaxy is quite the opposite. It's one of the most active regions of space that we can see. So, I mean, who knows?
Exciting.
I mean, I do. I mean, what's more exciting than aliens running around and, you know, powerful cosmic events occurring around us all the time, you know? Who wouldn't be curious about that kind of stuff? I mean, you can look at where we are in humanity and society as like one of the most bleak and nasty times, but on the other hand, you can look at it as like one of the most interesting times, you know? Like we couldn't see this stuff. We couldn't even like discuss this stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because seriously, 20, 30 years ago, I know there was like the Roswell stuff, but like I wouldn't be having this podcast and discussing these things because no one could see it, no one could think about it. Like it wasn't on the radar. And now we get to ponder these. Like we like it's a time of both scientific and it's a time of philosophic and scientific, like a new golden age. We really have an opportunity to explore this stuff. You know, in our technology, clearly like the drone technology, rocket technology, AI, biology. I mean, it's just exploding, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just leave that at that right there. Now let's move into the darker part of it. You cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's. Because I'm telling you, I'm trying to tie all this together, and it's just tough, and it may take several episodes, because I learn new stuff every day. Like like I said, it's golden age. New stuff to learn constantly now. New stuff's coming out all the time. All right, where were we? So some of this stuff might be hard for viewers to take, and I want to give a disclaimer there. I will talk about some subjects that some people may not like, and if you don't want to hear about human pain and suffering, then just switch it off now.
How did you join?
Some famous rapper, I don't know who he is. I know everyone else does. I just don't know any rappers' names. So
how did you join the Illuminati?
I guess you don't listen, gang. You don't. I joined the Illuminati when I wrote Country Grammar. I was in. I got all the way in when I sacrificed my son. See, I don't know. Illuminati is just like knowing. Like, you don't even know where you at right now. Right? I asked you something, and you won't even be able to tell me the real answer. I saw your mama, like, you don't know. Is that phone in your hand solid?
Sure.
Nah, it's an atom. It's in your mind. See, you sleep right now. You don't even know. See, I know. And I can control the sleep. I can control the dream. You just sleep. That's what I'm on. Yeah, that's the phone, an atom. You don't know what an atom is.
I know what an atom is.
All right, that's what I'm on. Yeah.
Do you regret sacrificing your son?
Why would I regret it when I can have two? Come on, gang. I got to get full. I don't want to come back here no more. He died, so I ain't got to die no more. Stop playing with me. Yeah. I ain't coming back when I die this time. That's what I got with mama. He got to figure it out.
So.
That's disgusting.
It is
what
disgusting.
A terrible human being.
You know what, though? Hang on. I'm not trying to rationalize for these people because I do think they're lost. But they do know. They know more than you know. They know more than I know. They understand what's going on out there. Now, where's the next one? Where'd it go?
We are the first species on the face of this earth to be aware of evolution, to be aware that we are affecting our own evolution by everything that we do, the babies we eat, the food we eat, by everything that we do, the babies we eat, the food we eat.
One more time.
By everything that we do, the babies we eat, the food we eat.
I don't have time to discuss every single one of these people I put up here and tell you who they are and where they are. I just tell you that these are very powerful, influential political people, and they believe this shit whether or not you do. They believe it. You don't have to. Right?
I mean, most people would like to just believe that that was just a slip up.
You know, I would believe it too.
Oh, she just slipped up. She's old. She's losing her head. She slipped up.
Why would babies ever come in your mind? I would never make that slip. And it's not just her. There's so many people. I just showed you another one of whatever that guy's name is. I forget that he did country grammar.
Let me put it like this. I would like to believe that was just a slip up.
Do you know how many clips I have like this of people slipping up in politics saying they eat babies? And how many of them joke about it? Yeah, I can just rattle off names all day long. Bieber, Katy Perry, Will Ferrell, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden. I can just keep going all day long of people who have supposedly who have said in interviews they either sacrifice children, eat children, or make jokes about this on their Twitter, their X, their everything. No, it is. That is not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. They have it in their lyrics, in their videos. They have mock sacrifices all over the place. Marina Abramovich, Lady Gaga, Lieb Schreiber, Charlize Theron. Fuck, dude, you want me to keep going? Like, I mean, I can just do this all day long.
It doesn't change the fact that normal people are always going to assume these people slipped up or they didn't mean what they said.
Those people aren't watching my podcast, man. Those people aren't watching my podcast. I don't give a fuck about
I understand.
Sheeple. I'm talking to my podcast. I'm not talking to the sheeple.
I agree.
I'm
just saying, like, it's so fucking wild, dude. Holy shit, these people are so gross.
Now, hang on. Let's So, here's the thing. I'm gonna go back and play this clip one more time because it's important. Okay.
So, how did you join the Illuminati?
This is the beginning.
I guess you don't listen, gang. You don't. I joined the Illuminati when I wrote Country Grammar. I was in. I got all the way in when I sacrificed my son. See, I don't know. Illuminati is just like knowing. Like, you don't even know where you at right
What
now.
happened to his son? Because I don't follow these.
I don't know, and like they'll never tell you either. Like they're never going to talk talk about the ritual on it. Like like he actually broke a rule here. They're not allowed to talk about this. Okay, let me give a little preface to this one. The number one rule about the Illuminati is that you're supposed to make it look like a joke. Remember, there's that karmatic rule where they have to tell you, but at the same time, they're never allowed to tell. Like, they are not allowed to tell. What's the first rule of Fight Club? You don't talk about Fight Club.
I mean, that was the whole point of the movie.
Right, yes. I mean, Chuck Palahniuk. I've read almost every Chuck Palahniuk book multiple times. But
I mean, these things are always innuendos. They mean more than one thing.
Right, but they slip up sometimes because they have hubris. Like they feel like once they get to a certain level that they're outside the
human.
rules.
They're not.
Yes,
they're human. They're not perfect. So yes, they slip up.
And I also think that they're allowed to talk a little bit more about it than they used to. But hang on, listen to the words.
So how did you join the Illuminati?
I guess you don't listen, gang.
You don't.
I joined the Illuminati when I wrote Country Grammar. I was in. I got all the way in when I sacrificed my son. See, I don't know. Illuminati is just like knowing. Like, you don't even know where you at right now.
Being in the Illuminati is just knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what does he know that tells him that his soul is safe if he sacrifices his son? Now, hang on.
Is that phone in your hand solid?
Sure.
Nah, it's an atom. It's in your mind.
It's in your mind.
See, you sleep right now. You don't even know. See, I know. And I can control the sleep. I can control the dream. You just sleep. That's what I'm wrong.
What he means by that is he's asleep, meaning he doesn't know what's going on. That's how I take that.
Yeah, but hang on. There's wait for this one sentence and we'll discuss it.
Phone the atom. You don't know what an atom is.
I know what an atom is.
All right, that's what I'm wrong. Yeah.
Do you regret sacrificing your?
Oh, hang on. This is the part. I want you to listen to it carefully.
Your son.
Why would I regret it when I can have two? Come on, gang. I got to get full. I don't want to come back here no more. He died, so I ain't got to die no more.
Play it one more time.
Come on, gang. I got to get full. I don't want to come back here no more. He died, so I ain't got to die no more. Stop playing with me.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, he died, so I don't have to die anymore. Yeah.
But there's something fundamental about this. So, I've been studying Hermeticism and Rosicrucianism, Knights Templar, these ancient religions or more modern religions that are based off of ancient religions. And this idea of reincarnation is okay. This is a tough one. I'm going to tie it together. This is where I'm going to tie all this together. That Bob Lazar, the religious book, the most classified document in existence, is we are trapped here. We are in a matrix. We are souls that are bound to be reincarnated and tortured over and over and over again to feed the aliens. And if you do a really good job of keeping that veil over others, they will let you out and let you join them. You hear me?
I hear you.
This is what they believe. Like, okay, remember, these are not necessarily beliefs that I hold. I actually do not hold this belief. I think there is some truth in it. But this is what they believe. That they believe that they really do believe that that whole Abrahamic religion about how Abraham was told by an angel to sacrifice his son, and God, oh no, you don't need to do that. But there's a deeper meaning to that text, and that God doesn't want us off here. And in order to get out, in order to be able to stop reincarnating and suffering on earth, you have to sacrifice. You have to make this ultimate sacrifice. And that's the only way to lift the veil.
Yeah, but...
And they all believe it. Every politician, every banker, every musician, Every
from the
actor, every single one of them believe this.
Okay, but here's the fucked up part.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a sacrifice if they don't give a shit. If these people are so fucked up in the head that they don't give a shit about their quote unquote sacrifice, it's not a sacrifice.
Dude, you don't have a child. Let me tell you. I don't care. I know
No,
these
but
things.
I believe these pieces of shit don't even give a fuck about their own kids. So therefore, how is it a sacrifice?
Guarantee you they do. I guarantee you they do.
No, I think from our perspective, it's not a sacrifice. From theirs, maybe it is. But I don't think that they give a shit enough. I don't think they have any empathy. I don't think they love their own children.
I don't think
Therefore,
that's
I
true.
don't think they can be sacrificed.
Sacrificial. I think that's that trauma-based mind control. That MK Ultra stuff. The trauma-based mind control is that you have to go through that trauma in order to be able to break the veil. There has to be trauma. That if you just live a really comfy life and you live that whole upper middle class and life just kind of you cruise, you get your degree, you go make your 6 figures, you raise your kids. My sister, like a good example is that kind of lifestyle, right? She will never be able to lift the veil. It will never happen for her. She will reincarnate here on Earth. You understand what I'm saying?
That's what they believe, yeah.
Right, that this is what they believe. And it isn't until you learn this, you have to be initiated in the pyramids. You have to make an ultimate sacrifice in order to lift that veil. And let me tell you that there is some truth in it. And I'll tell you why I believe that there's some truth in it. Because I feel it. I am such a logical person that when I see stuff about transgenderism, the dogma of science, I've seen the veil on every direction. I've studied mathematics, mechanics, cosmology, and the further out there you get, the more you find these lies, and that there is this. I don't feel like it's a real dome, like a physical dome, but it's this illusion. There's this illusion. And when he goes, he's talking about the phone. He says, is that really there? Is that phone or is it an atom? He's wrong. There is no physical distance between you and I, Eric, right now. I know you're in California and I'm in Arizona, but there's no physical distance between us. We all originated at a source, like really. The only difference between you and I is energy and frequency. That's the only distance between us, is a vibration.
Right.
And time. Separations in time. We're separated in time right now. It takes time for the electrons to travel down this cord into my computer and over to you. Did you know that all electrons are the same electron? Every photon is the same photon? That they exist outside of time?
How so?
It's just the case. That's just what we find in science. That no matter what we do with our experiments, that all photons travel all paths simultaneously and they don't experience time. Same with electrons. Without getting too deep into the science of this, modern quantum mechanics is telling us that everything is consciousness, that we are a manifestation, that when an observer manifests reality, like in a very physical way. You've heard of the double slit experiment?
No.
God, I love the double slit experiment.
You showed it to me?
Yeah. I got it. Hang on. There it is. Now go back. This is like one of my.
On the screen.
I'm pulling it up right now. Sorry, I didn't have it saved. I thought I did, but I'm pulling it up right now. Okay. So this is like my new favorite meme.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that.
Okay, but this does such a great example of describing reality. When you're not looking, it's a waveform. The second you look at something, it manifests into a solid. And every experiment we've ever done proves this to be right. It's like the Heisenberg uncertainty principle is so fundamental to our universe that essentially when you close your eyes, the universe disappears. It does. There may be some other reality where someone else has their eyes open, but I was laying in bed last night. God, this is so wild. Oh God, some of this stuff just gets so wild because there's so much truth in it that it's like hard to wrap your mind around. That it's like it's not that I want to believe this crazy stuff. It's that that's the conclusions, right? Like I can't avoid it. It's unavoidable. Like, is my wife and child really there when I shut my eyes at night? Are they still there? Are you still there? Are you a manifestation of my consciousness? Is everything just so because I think it's so?
I mean, no, but...
Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that is reality. But the same is true for you.
It's your reality.
In your reality is the same.
Sure.
So the real existence lies where these waveforms collide, right?
Yeah.
Right. But there is no real way to tell. Like, that guy who sits there and says, that rapper who says, it doesn't matter if I've sacrificed my son. I can have 4 more. There's no physical world here. They feed off our consciousness, man. I'm telling you. They're psychic vampires. We literally live in this weird quantum mechanical manifestation that we have ultimate control. Like every second of every day, we have control over our past, our future, our present. Whatever you want to manifest, you can manifest. But you have to look on this bigger scale in order to be able to manifest these things. It's like, very simple terms. The reason why I live in the house that I live in with the color of the walls that I have is because that's what I wanted. I am the god of my own reality. I manifested this, You see where I'm going?
Yeah, I do.
Whether you like it or not, we're all wizards. We just don't know it. We don't always know what spells we're casting. And this is the physics. This is the fundamentals of our reality. This is the truth. That is the reality. All this stuff around is not reality. It's a manifestation. It's our wave function, It's like when we're talking about video games. It's like the reason why I haven't been enjoying video games? Because that's my manifestation. I'm trying to get rid of the video games, so I'm manifesting a dislike for those video games.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Right?
100%.
But so then I start to look at these kinds of people as not such a bleak way. If when you shut your eyes, everything disappears, does it matter? Does it matter if you've sacrificed your children? You see what I'm saying?
I would say yes, it still does.
I do.
But
I believe that.
Just because of the effect on himself, I think it's evil, and I think he's harmed himself doing it.
Well, I think that it has probably a little bit deeper meaning in the fact that there probably is this ancient alien religion, and it's not quite so nice. And it's flawed in itself. That this is you've heard me talk about Thoth and Hermes. We've discussed this, right?
We've done it on the
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
So I don't need to give you a big preface to that. So
No, you don't.
Have you've heard of the halls of Amenti? So
If I have, I forgot.
that's okay. I'll give
Go
a quick
ahead.
I'll give a quick rundown. And so the halls of Amenti are where the gods go. Like once you transcend this reincarnation on Earth over and over again, you end up in a place called the halls of Amenti, where the gods lie. And when I say gods, I don't mean like our creator, right? I'm talking about where people who've transcended the fourth dimension go, when they no longer reincarnate here in a physical form on Earth. Where true manifestation starts to occur. Like once you've gotten a grip on this reality, like where you go next, and that next level of reality. Okay? Now, it's called the Halls of Amenti, or the Halls of Valhalla. The halls. And I don't know if you noticed this one, but Amenti, Amen. Amen. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
Amen Ra. Do you see where I'm going?
Sure.
We've known this. Humans have known this for tens of thousands of years. Like this isn't new. We have understood this for a very long time. Now, for whatever reason, in this iteration of man, it's been hidden from us. But this isn't anything new. The halls. You've heard of Pandora's box or the Tesseract?
Yeah.
It's not the hall of Valhalla. It's not the hall of Amenti. It's the halls. There's a way to get out of here. We can leave. We can leave. We don't have to be here. We can transcend this if we want. We don't have to be stuck to these little fragile bodies that are a resource for another race. The clues are everywhere. And so many people are now pursuing this escape that they can't keep everyone quiet. They can't keep it a secret anymore. The keys are all there. The doors are opening in a very real way.
I mean, Ascension has been, talked about, theorized, put into our TV shows and movies forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's also, up until very recently, particularly in modern history, it's a sin. You can't do it. It's esoteric. You'll go to hell. You're not allowed to talk about it or question it. Jesus is God. And all other discussion means you're a blasphemer and you'll burn. Right? Am I not right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see your point.
Well, you know what Jesus said
On
about
the
this,
other
though, right?
hand, the further away we get from quote unquote God, the worse the world gets. The more suffering there is, the more greed there is, the more all this shit.
Yes and no. I mean, it really depends on how you look at that one. Like, if you look back through history, I mean, not that I'm not real pro organized religion to begin with. I never really have been. I've always been a Christian, but it's because I like what Jesus says. He's a pacifist that talks about, dropping your worldly belongings and seeking God. And I do still think that's the truth. I mean, at the very least, I'm Gnostic. Jesus may not be God incarnate, but I kind of feel we're all in God incarnate. So saying that Jesus is God incarnate is like an easy one. Like he just was a lot closer to it than everybody else, even if it's just in story and he never really existed. Again, it doesn't matter. That like God is within us, and we need to seek self-reflection. Not external, not through a pastor, not through brands, not through Taylor. That's not where you find God. You find God by through self-improvement, But and there does have to be a sacrifice. Like there does. Like I do believe there has to be a sacrifice, but I don't think it's your kid. Like if those guys, if the Katy Perrys and the Kodak Blacks or whoever those guys, the politicians, if they're going wherever they're going, I don't really want to go there. I don't really want to hang out with them.
Word. But
it kind of keeps coming back to this whole Harry Potter Hogwarts shit, that there really are these this duality that on this planet, and there's no way around it, and that there's so much going on, and if you just look at right here and you care about all of this stuff, that you're just gonna miss it all, and you're gonna have to roll your dice and hope that your next reincarnation you don't get stuck in it again, or you don't get fucking put in some baby body in Africa that really gets to suffer, you probably ought to try to do some self-reflection and bounce the fuck out,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you think about that? What do you think about those if this is, there really is this other reality going on out there, it's around us all the time. What do you think about that? Do you care? Does it matter? Should viewers care?
I mean, to me, does it matter? No, not so much.
Why not?
I just don't think it does. I don't know how else to describe it.
You're cool with just reincarnating here on Earth and rolling the dice and seeing where you may end up next?
Sure.
Yeah?
Maybe I'll get closer next time. Yeah. At this point, I don't really give a shit.
You don't want to try to take a little bit with you into the next one?
Nah.
No? Why not?
I don't know. Just don't. Don't care.
I don't know. Now that I know, I can't look back. There is no going back for me. That is the only pursuit.
To each their own.
There is no better pursuit to me. It's a duty now, and it's a duty to teach others, and to make sure that those that do follow do not fall on the dark side. That they don't think that.
For me, I think falling not on the dark side is close enough.
Yeah.
Good enough for me in this life.
What do you think, that'll just set you up enough for the next life that you don't think you'll have to suffer?
I mean, I don't even think about it that deeply. I'm more of a go with the flow kind of guy. I don't, like you've said before, you think I'm a witness, right? I'm not looking to transcend. I just like to look around and see things for what they truly are.
But why
pass
not?
on that experience? But
God,
I don't know. I'm just not that person.
Think about it this way. There's literally right in front of you. You could take your hand and just push it through a portal.
Then I would.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. You can. It's right there. Ooh. All you have to do is just believe. It's that easy. I mean, now, granted, you'll be a toddler.
Then go open that door and let me know.
I mean, I have opened that door. I've seen the other side, and it scared the fucking piss out of me, and I had to take a step back. And so now I'm going back into it, and I'm pacing myself. Because the shit that I saw scared the fucking crap out of me, and, it did. It scared the crap out of me, the shit I saw. I mean, I was seeing entities everywhere, There was some dude who liked to hang out in my backyard, this 8-foot tall, slender, black entity that liked to hang out in my backyard and would psychically try to talk to me, and I'd go out in my backyard and see him there. I didn't tell you about that?
That's creepy. No, you did. We talked about it.
Dude. I mean, I'm really good. I think Star Wars. I've told you. I think George Lucas he kind of just knows, you're not supposed to become a Jedi later in life because it's too jarring. And yeah, he's right. It's better to be initiated young and kind of be slowly like learn your powers and stuff like that, to like have all this shit thrust on you and to be able to like see people's auras and these entities and like bend time and shit. Like, dude, it's so it's too much. Like, particularly getting it all at once, it's just too much. I'm telling you, like, when you start accessing these planes of information and it just fucking floors you and you feel like you've like literally have this download link to some god or entity and it just like beams all this fucking information into your head at 500 petabytes a second. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, but I want more. I want more of it. Like, it's so intense. It's so amazing. Like, I want more. I just need to pace myself, like, so I am. I'm telling you, like, there is a way. I'm showing you the way. But it isn't like some spell you can cast. Like, you say these words and all of a sudden it happens. It's a knowing. It's like being in the Illuminati is just knowing, And there's these levels of knowing. And I'm kind of at that first level of knowing. And it was like a little much. And I had to take a step back. I had to go eat a bunch of sugar and fucking forget for a minute. But like I said, I'm falling back into it again, and it's making me happier again. But I'll tell you what, when I look at my son, it makes me want it for him. It doesn't make me want to sacrifice him. It makes me want to open the door for him as well. It makes me want to open the door for people. It makes me want to go in there collectively, and it doesn't make me want to go in there alone. I don't want to go in there alone. It's a scary place. I want to bring powerful people with me. I want a team. I want to go in there with as much strength and courage as I can possibly muster. Because it is a scary fucking place. Because you do start running into powerful entities very quickly. And it's hard to know who to trust in there. But they're real. They're just as real. Like when I shut my eyes and, I start meditating and I run into these entities, they're just as real as when my eyes are open. And not to mention I run into them when my eyes are open too. It's like once you get on their radar, they start like hanging out, Like, oh, you can see me? Let me explain the black guy. Because I just like brushed over that one like it was nothing. Let me explain this for anyone who's watching. So this one night, I was just working and someone said come outside, and I was like, started trusting my intuitions about these things, and so I just went outside, and I go over there and look by the corner of my house, and there's this. It's pretty dark out, but, I'm very familiar with my own backyard and what it looks like. And I take a couple steps into the backyard and I see this, what looks like an 8-foot tall, and almost like a cartoon, very like a round head and these like arms that are like almost drawn and legs that are like drawn, like a black silhouette that would look like it'd be like a cartoon alien figure, And I could tell that he was trying to talk to me, like trying to probe my mind. But I also didn't feel like he was really there, right? Almost like he was kind of outside space-time for me. Like it's possible that he'd been there for a long time and will be there for a long time. Almost as if he's on this other side of the veil and time, he's not experiencing time the exact same way I am. It's not like he's like standing there having a conversation with me, but his presence is there over this given space-time. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I hear you.
And so, like, we aren't experiencing time and space the same way. Like, I can see him there and feel him, but we aren't experiencing it the same way. Like, he's not hostile, but he's not hostile. It's just more like he's like kind of like viewing in, like checking things out over here, And what may be a very brief moment for him could be 10 years for me, for all I know, Like, yeah, and I just happened to come out there while he was like hey, anyone there? You know? You get what I'm saying?
I do.
And since I've closed off, he's not there anymore, but he was out there a few times. And like my dogs didn't like him. They wouldn't go out there with me. Normally my dogs always go outside with me. If I go like feel something and I go outside, my dogs come out there with me. My dog's like, nah, nah, we'll stay inside right now. So there's like other cues that go on around me that tell me what's going on isn't like a figment of my imagination. Like there's other things, you know? Like it got real quiet. You didn't hear the birds chirping. I didn't see the bats floating around. That was a very real experience for me. Like it's not one I'm going to forget quickly, you know? It's one I've reflected on quite a bit and thought about a lot. Because it was just so bizarre. It was the first time I had ever experienced anything like that. And it was right around the time I was seeing all those UFOs in the backyard and stuff too.
Right.
But you wouldn't want to do that?
I mean, a lot of it is if you expect to see something, you're going to see something. Because it's either it's there, and if you expect to see it, you're going to see it because it is there. Or it could be that you expect to see it and manifest it in your own mind. So it's not actually there. You're just making it be there because you expect to see it.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, though, is that we manifest our own reality. And so that entity is just as real as my wife. No.
I think that's a little different because you have an entity that is manifesting itself and you're manifesting it as well. And then you've got the different kind that's only being manifested by you.
I don't think that thing was just being manifested by me. I think that thing may have been more real than my wife. No, I don't really think that. I love my wife. I love my children. And clearly, if there's anything I've manifested in my life, it can't be realer than those things, right? Like these are such excuse me, such powerful manifestations that they're just as powerful as the orange on the wall behind me. You know what I'm saying? Like these are such rigid manifestations in this reality. Yes, I agree with you to some extent, like you. Like, if you are a creation of my manifestation, you are real in your own right. Like, you're not a manifestation I can get rid of anymore. But, without saying names, I have some friends who are disappearing. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, they're disappearing from your view, but that doesn't mean that they're gone.
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you, Eric. That's what I'm trying to explain. Is that the science says that's not the case. That if they are not there, they don't exist. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have their own existence and have their own manifestations. And I'm not saying that there isn't this constant struggle between manifestations, but that's what I'm saying. That is the reality, is where these waveforms collide. And if our waveforms aren't colliding, they're not in our existence anymore.
Okay.
That's
a very interesting way of looking at it, and I get you. I'm following.
And that's what I'm trying to say is quantum mechanics says that there is no physical distance between you and I, Eric.
Gotcha.
And so if there is no physical distance, then it's like if I'm not looking at stars and planets and stuff, they aren't really there. They're in a wave function. They're in a superposition, Just like for you. I mean, like I'm saying, I'm not unique in this. I think this is the truth for all of us. Like if you take every consciousness as an atom that originates from this source, it's these set of superpositions, it's math, it's bits, in a very, very real sense. Like that is the reality. The physical world doesn't really exist in the way we think it exists. I mean, like if your consciousness disappears, like what's there,
I don't know.
Right. There, you don't have any way to. You don't have any way to even like discuss existence anymore. So if we die, is there another way to exist? Well, that's what reality is starting to talk about. We are not a body. We are a soul that has a body. But again, it comes back. It keeps coming back. Like that means that in we can basically manifest whatever we want. We can all become powerful wizards. It's within all of us. In a very real sense, even more real than the tangible world right in front of us. And you can be a slave and let other more powerful psychic entities feed off of you. Lone windows.
Well, I don't let anybody feed off of me. You know this.
Well, you don't. I mean, if you don't, but you do. You consume.
No, I don't.
You consume. You consume.
I consume, but nobody feeds off me.
How do you know?
I mean, aside for people that I choose to let feed off me.
Dude, how do you know you're not in a fucking
a
Matrix-like pod?
Just
Yeah.
to. I don't know.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying. You get where I'm going with this, though.
I do, but the fact is I just do.
When am I going to be able to convince you that there's more to it and you need to start studying this shit with me? So that we can become, like, generals in a cosmic reality, No, I mean it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to go in there alone, man. It's scary. I need my wife. I need my child. I need you. I need everybody. There's like the halls of Amenti apparently have like 9-10 guys up there, and they kind of have a lock on things on this 5D reality, and they're the ones who essentially govern the rules that we got to deal with. Dude, I'm an argumentative son of a bitch. I'm not going to like what they have to say when I get up there. They're not going to be nice to me.
That's a fact.
Right? Like, I need help. I mean, look at all the people that are getting in there. I mean, look at all these. Like, you think I want to hang out with fucking Katy Perry in the afterlife? I want to hang out with Jesus. I want to hang out with Buddha.
I think they're going to have a different afterlife than you would have. If it truly is that you manifest, you're just not going to manifest that. They're not going to be there in front of you because you haven't manifested it. If what you say is true,
well, see,
and
I don't know,
and that is the case, they're not going to be there.
I don't know what's past the veil. All I'm telling you is this physical reality doesn't exist. I'm not telling you that there isn't a psychic reality. I'm telling you I'm like a toddler out there that I don't know. I just know it's there, and I'm still sticking everything in my mouth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still picking up everything and sticking it in my mouth. That's all. That's the information I'm giving you. Is that I'm like a toddler who discovered taste before you did. That's all. And I'm like, ooh, look at this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
I'm not trying to say that I'm some grand wizard here. I'm saying that I'm not. I'm saying I don't know shit, and that I need a team to go in there, and we need to take measuring devices, and we need to find translators, and we need to discover these things. Okay, perfect. Okay, I want to wrap this up, and I have some. Yeah,
I was just gonna say we need to wrap it up.
I have something very specific I want to wrap up on. I rewatched one of my favorite episodes of the Y-Files last night about the Knights Templar. And in modern history, probably the first guys to discover this in, say, the last 500-600 years, and it's up to like 1300 AD, or around 1300 AD is when this really started becoming where our modern religion, and when I say modern religion, I don't mean Christ. I mean this whole brand, movies, TV, originates from these old Freemason Knights Templar, Rosicrucians, and they discovered all of these old civilizations and found their technology and kept it hidden and been using it for themselves for the last 1,000 years. And that it's real, and I want to become one. I want to become a Knights Templar or whatever that is, a Knights Malta. That it's like the most interesting thing, fun thing I can think of. There is nothing cooler. Like no fucking video game is going to be able to top that. Those are distractions. You could play a video game and enter this other world, but what if you can enter that world right here, right now? Why not? There's people already doing it, and there's ways in, and you don't necessarily have to go down the evil path. There's plenty of other paths to take. There's a good line. The way I want to do it, I already told you. I want to become an archaeologist. I want to move to a part of the world where it's a little bit easier to access this stuff, to find this stuff, and to really study that. And instead of spending my time doing drugs and playing video games, I want to just delve into that. Because even without, manifesting, talking about all this wild mumbo jumbo shit, it's right here. It's physical, it's tangible. There's adventures to be had. There's discoveries to be made. There's you understand what I'm saying, right?
I do, yeah.
That sounds so much more entertaining to me. And
certainly more fulfilling.
And I can't do it alone. Right, that's what I'm saying. It's so much more fulfilling. And instead of looking at lost time, I want to look forward. I want to reverse time by looking forward. I don't want to keep going and squandering this, but I don't look back with regret. I want to move forward and be an Indiana Jones in the truest sense. I want to raise money to go explore the pyramids and sneak in at night and do things I'm not supposed to do and record things I shouldn't record. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to end up in a fucking prison cell.
Whatever. Be worth it. But by that point, I'm hopefully I'll be a powerful enough wizard. I won't have to deal with that kind of shit. That it'll be manifestations of my own when I dig into ground that has not been dug into before. It'll be my manifestations and not theirs. These are unclaps wave functions that I want to explore.
As long as you don't intersect with their manifestations, you'll be fine. But
at some point you're going to.
That's easier said than done.
That's why I want a team.
Everything, as you said, everything exists in one point. So,
and that's why I don't want to do it alone. That's why I need a team. That's why I want to
Yeah, I agree with you. There's strength in numbers.
I want to become powerful enough that people like Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson and Billy Carson and AJ from the Y-Files and stuff like that, where we team together. I see these guys in the communities they've built and the truth that they're trying to unveil, and they are on this other side. They're the non-brand people. They're the non-media people. They want to do these things, and some of them come to it later in life because they have been suppressed for so long. That you don't see these guys kind of getting into it until their late 40s, 50s, 60s, because it took decades for them to uncover the truth themselves. They weren't born into it and given that silver spoon. That it's not an easy task, so it takes decades. It took years and years of me seeking the truth to finally uncover what I've uncovered. To know that there is this other world right here, right now, that I can go discover. But you have to buy into it, or otherwise it's, you're always going to be this skeptic. You kind of have to start buying into it a little bit. And that's why I keep telling you, go read this, go read that. go watch this, go watch that. Like, don't stop taking my word for it. Like explore these other options out here. You know, like I don't believe everything they say, but maybe, you know, like I want you to bring to the table. I want my son's starting to do it. I want my son to bring it to the table. I want my wife to bring it to the table. I want, you know, like I want a round table of enlightened individuals who work towards that goal of, you know, seeking an afterlife together. One much better than the one that we're taught, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like let's say I'm alive for another 40 years. That's just such a small amount of time. I want more. I'm not saying I want to be immortal and that's what I'm seeking is power and immortality. But I sure as hell don't want to leave all that off the table if it's right here and right now. You feel?
Yeah, I feel you.
So there. Let's end on that one. It's there, guys. It is. I'm trying to build a team. Let's build a team of the good guys, not the bad guys, not the baby eaters, but the Indiana Jones who bring their children instead of sacrificing them. You got anything to part on this one?
No, I second the motion.
Yeah?
I hear what you're saying.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. All right. We're out then. Happy New Year's, folks. We'll see you next weekend. And we're out. Dude, I'm starting to feel it again. It's like grabbing a hold of me over the last couple